it could be still a black swan event, an unlikely visit by something different than an icy rock that we must take seriously.
The danger begins instantly. Astronomers watching 3I Atlas suddenly realize the object is no longer a passive traveler. It is modifying the chemical makeup of every world it passes. Instruments across Chile, Hawaii, and the Canary Islands begin firing off alerts at the same time. Something inside the object has awakened. Scans show torrents of methanol and hydrogen cyanide erupting from its core, but in a ratio so unnatural it sends entire laboratories into panic. ALMA confirms the impossible. Methanol is blasting out more than 100x faster than hydrogen cyanide, something recorded only once in human history and never at this scale. No natural comet behaves like this. No random object chooses to release chemistry perfectly tuned for life formation. Researchers look at each other with a fear they do not speak out loud. This combination doesn't just support biology, it favors it. It pushes it. It encourages it. As 3I Atlas cuts deeper into the inner solar system, long chemical trails stretch behind it like drifting biological fingerprints. These plumes, hundreds of miles wide, begin sweeping across the orbital paths of Venus, Mars, and even the moons of Jupiter. The solar system is being dusted. Experts warn that panspermia, the seeding of life, may no longer be a theory discussed in quiet classrooms, but a live event unfolding in real time. Some scientists whisper that humanity is watching the birth of alien biology. Others fear that Earth may be witnessing the spread of something it cannot predict, direct, or stop. The frightening part isn't just the chemistry, it's the behavior. 3I Atlas does not act like a comet at all. It behaves like a courier, a distributor, a messenger of molecules obeying a mission no one can decode. And with every new reading, one question digs deeper into the minds of researchers. If this object is delivering life, who or what told it where to go? The fear deepens the moment astronomers lay the full trajectory of 3I Atlas across the solar system and see something no natural object should ever do. The path isn't drifting, wobbling, or wandering like a normal interstellar visitor. Instead, it cuts through space with razor-sharp precision, as if following invisible checkpoints only it can see. Every shift, every curve, every planetary pass sits on a line so perfect it startles even veteran orbital analysts. The first shock hits when the object brushes 60 million miles past Venus, placing its chemical outflow right against the edge of the planet's scorching atmosphere, a position so exact it looks selected. Then comes the second strike, the flyby past Mars. 18 million miles. No interstellar object in recorded history has ever come this close to a major planet without being captured, disrupted, or flung off course. Yet 3I Atlas slides by untouched, almost as though it anticipated the gravity and adjusted ahead of time. That adjustment is what terrifies scientists most. Data reveals multiple course corrections that cannot be explained by jets, ice cracks, dust movements, or known natural forces. The accelerations are too clean. The decelerations are too deliberate. The object turns as if correcting errors, a behavior eerily similar to how human probes steer during long-distance missions. Avi Loeb then delivers the line that splits the scientific world in half. The odds of this path occurring naturally are so low, you cannot dismiss the possibility of guidance. Suddenly, every flyby looks suspicious. Each pass positions 3I Atlas directly over atmospheres, icy crusts, or regions where chemical deposits could fall. When analysts project forward to March 2026, the dread spikes again. The object will pass 33 million miles from Jupiter, skimming close enough to cross Europa's orbital neighborhood, the exact zone where a subsurface ocean waits in the dark. The pattern becomes impossible to ignore. It doesn't resemble a comet. It resembles a delivery route. Teams fracture under the weight of the implications. One camp insists it's still coincidence, a cosmic fluke amplified by human fear. The other camp warns that the universe rarely writes in straight lines, unless something is holding the pen. And just as the debate reaches its breaking point, a new anomaly appears, pulling the world into the next chapter. The moment the new ALMA scan came in, every researcher in the control room froze. A silent alarm passed through the lab, not a sound, but a realization. The numbers were impossible. 3I Atlas wasn't just releasing organic material, it was releasing it in a deliberately unbalanced ratio no natural comet had ever shown. Methanol, the chemical that feeds microbial life, helps amino acids form, and kickstarts early biological systems, was erupting at over 100 times the amount of hydrogen cyanide. That ratio shouldn't just be rare, it should be non-existent. Cyanide is needed to form DNA bases, yet in this object it appeared in strangely tiny, almost suppressed quantities, as if intentionally minimized. Across observatories, scientists stared at the spectral lines in disbelief. A comet optimized for life? A chemical payload tuned to help living systems rise instead of die? The idea spread through labs like electricity, frightening, exhilarating, deeply wrong. One researcher whispered what the others feared to say: no natural body behaves like this. Not one. Except for a single unexplained object recorded decades ago. And no one ever solved that mystery. The timing made it worse. As 3I Atlas drew closer to the Sun and closer to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter's moons, its methanol output didn't rise gently. It spiked, dramatically, as if some internal system had activated, responding to heat like a biological switch. Readings climbed again and again, each scan showing higher concentrations than the last, as though the object was preparing for something. Something time-sensitive. Something coordinated. And when the final data panel flashed red with yet another chemical surge, scientists felt a chill ripple through the room because the numbers suggested intention, not accident. A question formed that no one wanted to ask out loud, but everyone now feared: is 3I Atlas a relic of alien evolution or an engineered biological delivery system? The fear rises, and the next anomaly hits before anyone can catch their breath. The fear spikes the moment astronomers realize the newest images are not glitches, they are warnings. Throughout the summer, 3I Atlas is now breaking the most basic rule of comet behavior. Its tail, instead of streaming away from the sun like every comet in recorded history, is pointing toward it. The solar wind should be blasting the dust and gas outward, but this object seems to ignore that force entirely. It behaves as if it decides where its tail goes, not the sun. Researchers freeze at their monitors, knowing this one detail alone rewrites physics, or suggests control. Then comes the second shock. As the object approaches intense solar heat, its surface does the impossible. It turns blue. Not a faint tint, but a deep, electric, almost metallic blue, a color never observed in natural comet nuclei. Labs attempt to simulate the effect with extreme heating, cooling, radiation bursts, even artificial plasma fields. Nothing works. Nothing comes close. The transformation appears triggered by something inside the object, not outside. But the most disturbing behavior emerges from the trajectory data. The object is speeding up and slowing down in tiny, deliberate pulses, micro-accelerations, and micro-decelerations that no gravitational model can explain. It slips away from Jupiter's pull, then drifts closer as if reconsidering. It resists the sun's gravity, then leans into it moments later. It is flying a path that looks intentional, like a machine correcting itself. At first, researchers call these anomalies quirks. Now they whisper the truth. These are maneuvers. Multiple observatories across the world report the same pattern. Each time, 3I Atlas shifts direction, even slightly, its gas release spikes in perfect synchronization. It behaves like something is adjusting its internal mass, redistributing energy, using chemical output as thrust. This is not drifting. This is not tumbling. This is steering. And if it's steering, then something is guiding it. The implications spread like shock waves. Is this technology, autonomy, a physics humans have never touched? Every new frame deepens the dread because the object seems less like a cosmic traveler and more like a vessel with a mission. Scientists ask the question no one wants to say out loud. If this is not natural, then what is it trying to do next? The warning hits the scientific world like a shockwave. Avi Loeb announces that 3I Atlas may not be preparing to seed life, it may already be doing it right now. His statement sends an instant jolt of fear through every research lab on Earth. Because if he's right, humanity is watching something no civilization has ever witnessed: panspermia in real time. Telescopes detect chemical jets shooting from the object with unbelievable force, stretching hundreds of miles into space. These plumes drift silently toward the worlds in its path, like invisible seeds carried by a cosmic wind. And for the first time, astronomers realize they can't rule out the possibility that some of those seeds are already landing. Venus, a world once dismissed as dead, suddenly becomes the center of attention. Its upper clouds, a strange chemical soup capable of complex reactions, now lie directly inside 3I Atlas's drifting emissions. Scientists watch as the object passes, knowing those clouds could become experimental chambers for whatever chemistry the object releases. Mars is even more terrifying. For years, researchers suspected it may hold traces of ancient life. Now 3I Atlas has swept past it at an astonishingly close distance, brushing the planet with its methanol-rich spray. If even a fragment of that material settled into the soil or the polar ice, it could trigger reactions no one can control or even predict. But the greatest fear centers on Europa and Enceladus, moons with oceans hidden beneath ice. Their subsurface waters contain all the ingredients for biology, except a spark. And 3I Atlas is now poised to deliver the largest burst of life-forming chemicals these worlds have ever seen. If anything reaches those oceans, it could ignite biological activity in places humans have barely begun to understand. This moment forces scientists to confront a new reality. Panspermia is no longer a theoretical idea from textbooks. It is unfolding in front of them. They are not spectators to a natural event. They are witnesses to a cosmic experiment. But with possibility comes dread. Even helpful microorganisms can destabilize ecosystems. A foreign chemical mix could mutate, evolve, or awaken dormant systems we have no knowledge of. And if life begins somewhere else because of this object, it may not evolve in peaceful ways. It may not remain small. It may not remain contained. Some researchers say humanity is watching the birth of life on other worlds. Others fear something far darker: contamination, mutation, or irreversible transformation. And as the chemical output of 3I Atlas continues to rise with every hour, one question grows louder. What happens when the object moves even closer and begins its next phase? To find out, scientists turn to a new set of anomalies that make the object even harder to explain. The shock hits the scientific world like a detonation. Avi Loeb steps forward and calmly tells reporters that 3I Atlas's chemical signature appears friendly. Friendly. A word no one expected in a briefing about an interstellar intruder releasing life-building chemicals across the solar system. But immediately, the room fractures. Experts warn that chemistry does not reveal motive. A flower and a poison can share ingredients. Intent is hidden beneath the surface. And if 3I Atlas is acting like a gardener, one truth terrifies everyone. Gardeners choose what grows and what gets replaced. Scientists watch in disbelief as the object increases its methanol output with eerie timing, rising exactly as it approaches the sun, as though responding to heat like a trigger. This is not a passive rock drifting through space. This looks like activation. Even worse, its path now resembles reconnaissance. Precise flybys, perfect chemical dispersal zones, micro-corrections that match no known natural force. The patterns echo the same sweep and scan routes used by human probes exploring foreign worlds. Yet, NASA refuses to label it artificial, not because the evidence is weak, but because the consequences of admitting it are too enormous. Behind closed doors, scientists whisper that the anomalies don't behave like malfunction. They behave like purpose, the wrong way tail, the impossible color shift, the gravity-defying motion. Every anomaly stacks into a single disturbing picture. Something is choosing how this object behaves. And now the chemical stream thickens. Clouds of methanol-rich vapor rise from the core like an awakening lung. It's harmless on paper, unless it's a primer, the biological equivalent of soil being laid before seeds arrive. As perihelion approaches on December 19th, anxiety becomes global. That is when the object will be closest to the sun, fully heated, fully energized, whatever energized means for something that may not even be natural. Some believe this is the moment its true function will reveal itself. Others fear that humanity is about to learn it has misunderstood the entire event. The world holds its breath, because now the question is no longer what 3I Atlas is doing, but what it will do next. And as the object brightens and its tail begins twisting into a new, unexplained formation, one chilling possibility rises above every theory. Has life just arrived, or has something far older finally awakened?